Hey, my name is PolishLynx. Welcome to Katawa Shoujo. The banging on the door when there is no school. And, well, obviously would expect to sleep longer, right? But no, it's not going to happen. Unfortunately, I'm wakened by someone mercilessly pounding my door at 8 in the morning. At first I think it could be Kenji, but when my shouts of annoyance go unanswered, I realize it's Shizune. I wonder if there will be anything different here. She immediately backs away from the door when I open it, quickly concealing something behind her back. Kind of ominous. What's this? Is it a surprise? I don't really like the surprises. Damn it. The displeased expression on her face says that she wants me to stop being such a wet blanket. I would not like to be called that, not gonna lie. But she's too busy fumbling with what's behind her back to sign it. It must be frustrating for her, because seconds later she swings the object proudly and also a little dangerously. Ta-da! A picnic basket! We can have lunch together, the three of us! Whoa, wait, we have to cover a lot of story, actually, still. Act 4 was long. It's not really a basket, it looks more like a plastic bag. Taking a quick look inside, I can see that most of the food inside is also store-bought, but not homemade. Some items still have the price stickers on. There's a very diverse selection here for even a tiny tin of caviar. I'm slowly becoming more impressed with this lunch. I pick a grape out of there and pop it in my mouth. Don't just take things like that. I spent all night perfecting this final weapon. Shizune places it down on the ground to free up her hands, and immediately starts playfully tapping it between her feet like a soccer ball. Definitely not what you should do to anything you're going to call a final weapon. All part of my get me shot stop being so depressed plan. I stayed all last night working on it. When we tried to order in last time, Misha barely got anything and used it as an excuse to leave early. I won't let her get off so easily this time. The food is already here. She'll have to sit down and eat with us. It's the perfect bait. Doesn't everything look irresistible? I try to make it myself, but I don't know how to make it all fancy, so I end up buying everything. Still, it looks delicious, doesn't it? It should be. She's very perky today, juiced up on the thought of cheering Misha up. Although it's odd to see her so happy about it, I know that she's just as unsure now as she was yesterday. The only thing that has changed is that by viewing it as another sort of challenge for herself, she can put her worries aside and throw herself into it recklessly. It has worked well enough for Shizune so far. It wouldn't surprise me if it's the only way she knows how to live. It's a little early for. It's already 8 in the morning. That's late. Even Misha gets up at 8 or 9. She goes to bed at 7 PM, but that isn't important. It's very important. Shizune ignores me, gagging my hands by taking them in hers instead of a more proper rebuttal. The way she lingers against me a moment longer than expected feels really comforting. The point is, she's awake right now, walking around somewhere. Let's go and find her. She sprints out the door impatiently, and her gusto as she drags me along looking for Misha makes me feel more like I'm following a hunter on a safari than looking for a mutual friend. We don't have to look very hard, even cropped short. Her pink hair stands out. The fact that she's meandering around the grounds out in the open makes it even easier. Now, I'm sounding like a safari hunter. Misha! Huh? We're looking just for you. It's a good day for a picnic. You should join us. We even have caviar. Not sturgeon, of course, but really tasty. Caviar? Sturgeon? Apparently, finding it annoying to have to explain anything on left with only one hand, Shizune gives up quickly. Fish eggs. What? It tastes good. Sorry, Shichan, I think I'll pass today. When Misha starts to walk away, Shizune holds the bag out towards me, needing me to take it so that her hands can be free. As soon as it's out of her hands, she darts in front of Misha, cutting her off. I made so much food for... Sorry, I'm just not hungry right now. When are you going to be hungry then? Shichan, that's impossible to know. You can guess. The tension between them infuriates Shizune, and she's trying to deal with it by trying to tear through it. But that approach isn't going to work. I thought and hoped that Misha had gotten herself together, but I guess she was just cut too deep by what happened. I mean, yeah. And also again, Shizune forcing herself onto her, right? But we talked about it already. In that case, it's really out of anyone's hands. I believe that Shizune might understand that on some level. If she didn't, she wouldn't have any doubts at all. I'm still waiting for some changes compared to the other ending. Damn it. Because she can't speak, so I've learned that's her hesitation. It's very clear. She might as well be screaming. Oh, sorry. Misha waves her hands in front of her, not wanting to continue discussion any further, and quickly slips away. Shizune fumes silently, reluctant to let her go, but having no way to keep her here. As Misha's bag grows smaller in the distance, I wonder where she's heading off to. Is Shizune wondering something as she bites her lip in frustration? I want to touch her reassuringly on the shoulder, but I stop myself, not knowing if it's the right thing to do. Not because she looks fragile, vulnerable, or sad. It's the opposite. After a while, her expression belies no emotion at all, only contempt. Suddenly, she whirls around. Now all this food is going to go to waste. Yeah. That makes me mad. Although it's obvious she's more hurt than mad. The bag dangling from my hand feels like it's filled with lead. Let's go on a date, let us use then. Where do you want to go? I don't know. I mean, you planned the picnic, right? The roof is on fire. It's my favorite spot. A wry smile appears on her face, disappearing just as quickly. On the roof, I mentally crack open the caviar, knowing the derisive look from Shizune all the while. I end up putting it down immediately. Where are the toast points? I didn't make any. Like I told you, I bought everything. No toast points for? Why is that important? Anyway, they don't sell just toast points. That would be stupid. I bet they do. Maybe in stores for the exceptionally lazy, but not here. Why don't you use a tortilla chip? It's not the same. They're both triangles. Stop being such a princess. I didn't know there was a proper way to eat caviar. This is the first time hearing of it. It's not the same thing at all. I can't be decadent like this. And anyway, how can she not know? She lives in a huge mansion. Shizune takes the opportunity to scoop half the tin into a single chip in the meantime. Hey! I'm sure it doesn't even taste good like that. There is too much food here for 2 people. Because we can't communicate with each other while we eat, both Shizune and I have a lot of time to sit in silence and think about the fact that Misha, the person she set all this up for, isn't here. It's annoying that she isn't here. I can't enjoy my meal like this. I stare at the paper cup next to her, still half full of juice. I thought you didn't want all this food to go to waste. I wanted Misha to be here too. That was the whole point. I was able to accomplish what I want to do, so it doesn't taste good. You should eat it. Eat more. I want the fried things though. You keep eating all of them, even though you say they don't taste good. Fried things are always delicious. There is always an exception for them. You'll get fat. You'll get fat. I think you're being too aggressive. It's like I told you yesterday. I'm only trying to cheer her up. Yeah, but it seems more like you're planning a military campaign. I wasn't trying to take it seriously. And this is the only way I know how to do it seriously. I feel so powerless. I hate it. I can't even yell at her too. Even though I want to. Yelling is for serious occasions, right? Yeah. You should yell at Misha for me. You can tell her that I want her to stop being so down. Even if she feels sad and alone. It's no reason to stay gloomy forever. Maybe. Why don't you? I already did. Over a game of dice. Under over to be exact, I won 5 times. Only the 2 of them who take so much pride in winning games of pure chance. Then I tried to talk to her, but it didn't go so well, obviously. Well, so did I. I tried and failed. My goal has always been to do everything better for... Yeah, your one-upmanship is really something. But I failed too. That's why I want your help. I don't understand what I'm supposed to do anymore. For someone like Shizune, who has only ever interacted with the world by locking horns with every obstacle in her path, understanding only goes so far. I want to tell her that she doesn't have to worry, that she's great at cheering people up, because she managed to cheer me up my first week here. In retrospect, I must have looked like kind of a dick, being in such a sore mood from the moment I came here, even though I don't think I was very unreasonable. Even having months to digest it. Finding out that you have a hard defect like I did is hard to deal with. I'd had much less time to mull over suddenly being transferred to Yamaku on top of that. Spending the festival with Shizune really helped me out of her roots. I was happy enough to forget that the entire time it had felt as though she were manipulating me. I understand now that I had allowed myself to be manipulated. Even though I felt like I was at the bottom of the world, I still want to have a normal life again. I'm sure, because I enjoy what I have now. I think it must be the same for everyone. Including Misha. Everyone wants someone there to pull them up out of their self-pity, I guess. It's just that Misha always wanted Shizune to be that person. But because they can't be together, I think Misha feels that she can't accept Shizune's hand. And that frustrates Shizune. But if she could cheer up a stranger like me, then she'll die trying with Misha. Good luck. I still don't know what to expect from the bad ending. I can see it in her eyes too, for she tries to treat it like any other problem in her life. Shizune cannot do that with Misha's depression. Her thought processes are entirely different. In some ways more careful, in some ways more reckless and frenetic, sorry. She cares that much more. I end up not saying anything. Partly because sitting next to her like this, just the two of us, is pleasant enough in itself that I don't want to interrupt the moment with a question. And partly for a more cowardly reason. I've started to think that they weren't, but I don't know if her actions that day might not have been an afterthought, or even a fluke, just a collection of coincidences. I don't know if that would change everything, but I'm uncomfortable thinking about it. The fence behind me trembles slightly, and I turn to see that it's because Shizune has fallen asleep and engaged it. Considering she was up all night, it's not surprising. Well, where does all that motivation come from? Not just in regards to Misha. I'm sneaky, so it's hard for me to just accept that anyone can simply be that strong. My first thought was that maybe it's because she hates herself. It's very plausible. Leaning against her, I feel sad, like that might be the case. But it could be that we're similar in that we both want to be better people. We both want to be better people. It seems like I ate too much yesterday because I wake up in the morning feeling just nauseous enough for it to be a problem. I really can't postpone going into town for shopping for. So despite wanting to roll over and sleep it away, I force myself to get up and rest instead. I mean, I guess correct way? Somewhere between buying toothpaste and a few other groceries, I end up walking off. Then I feel hungry. After stopping for breakfast, it hits me how much time has gone by. I hadn't expected to be out this long at all. I'm not even sure if I bothered to lock my door. I should really get back. When I get back to the door, I see Hideaki standing in front of my room. From then on, I can think of few things more unexpected, and I can't help thinking that I might have a heart attack just from the surprise. Fortunately, it doesn't happen. As soon as he sees me, he says hello in his usual detached way. I'm a little slow to reply to him, so he repeats the greeting without missing a beat.
Hello.
That was not the voice, I think. Whatever.
Is something wrong?
I'm just surprised to see you here. Not as surprised as I could have been, since it's impossible to mistake him for anyone else. I'd recognize those weird clothes anywhere. Come to think of it, I've really surrounded myself with distinctive looking people lately. Hideaki's head lolls slightly one side, a little too easily.
Why? Is it unusual to someone's family come to see them?
Well, yeah, actually, yeah. So Hideaki isn't such a robot after all. In fact, it's almost as if he's more caught off guard by the fact that he even can be caught off guard, but he recovers quickly. Nevertheless, in that brief moment, he looks like his age. The uncomfortable side of his seems like the more honest, and I wouldn't mind seeing more of it. Not so much for that I'd go out of my way to pry. Only Shizune would be that zealous that my faults get so far is proof she's rubbing off on me. I think that you'd have a reason, that's all.
There is one.
See? Anyway, we can talk while we're looking for her, that's why we're here, right?
Shizune is in the student council room. I was looking for you. We might take a trip soon, a family trip. Do you think she would want to come with us?
Yeah, I don't know. She's kind of been on the warpath lately with a lot of stuff, and once she's focused on something, she won't just drop it. I guess you would know that. Hideaki looks much more at ease walking around than I did my first week. So, this isn't your first time here. Just throwing it out there. Of course, completely ignoring the surrounding environment could just run in the family. It will explain why Hideaki seems so distant from Shizune. I get the feeling there is more to it than just deafness.
No, but this is the first time I could walk around so much. It is kind of weird here. I bumped into a person who told me women are not allowed in the dorms. After I told him I'm not a woman, he told me I was misleading, and then accused me of being an assassin. I was warned that he was not only invincible, but strong enough to probably destroy the building with a punch, or at least knock over the painting hanging in the hallway. By the way, that painting is actually screwed to the wall. Yeah, that's the guy across the hall from me. He's okay. I see. Oh, you left your door open. It was unlocked when I came here. I'm a little annoyed that Hideaki knows that. The only way he could is if he had opened my door, but the feeling passes. It doesn't matter. I have nothing to hide or steal. Your soccer ball is really nice.
That's one of the things that does matter.
If you're a soccer player, a soccer ball is very important.
I guess the thought makes me smile.
I'm here because my father bought a new phone, and he wants to update Shizune in case she needs to call him. I thought that you should know too, since you're her boyfriend already.
Kind of. Oh my god. I'm so sleepy today. Again. Yeah. Why?
Just in case there is something wrong or she needs anything.
It isn't what I meant, but I'll go along. Even if she did, she probably wouldn't call.
But it's how she is.
Well, if you know, coming all the way here for defo, he could have updated her via email.
She does not like using emails.
That's so old-fashioned. Don't tell me he still does business through regular mail or something. Silence. Now it's my turn to feel awkward. Is Hideaki taking delivery or did I hit the mark? Nah. I'm sure that what it really comes down to is that he does want to see his daughter and stay in contact with her. In the end, they are still family, after all, even though they play at being at each other's throats. The door to the student council room is open, and Hideaki and I walk in on Jigoro in mid-round. He sees us but decides that it's not something worth stopping rambling at Shizune over. This is really shaking my faith in my previous assumption. When I was in the student council, our room was smaller, colder too, like working out of a meat locker. Not like you spoiled kids, what a waste. Sitting here in your giant room doing nothing. Aren't there only 3 of you? That makes him so desk only seem like another display of mindless other decadence. Appalling! You must use the desk you need and not one more. It is part of my code. It may be odd of me to think so, but hitting only one half of conversation is pretty strange also. That's some code. Not that I arrived like he changes the subject and starts talking about the reason he's here. Hideaki and I are going on a trip. What are you doing? Does everyone who uses sign language mumble while they do it? No, but I'm just an amateur. It helps me think. It's kind of like force of habit. Just an amateur. Unbelievable. Fine. He turns back to Shizune and just in time catch her shaking her head from side to side. Are you sure you won't be coming along? She reiterates the gesture. Fine. Can you tell her to call me if she needs anything? Yes. I think sending email would have been easier for. I'm not going to read emails on my phone. If she won't speak, she can call Hideaki. I suppose if I had to be reached, you would have to call me, or that other girl would have to call me. Actually, all 3 of you can just call Hideaki. And with that, he swiftly turns and leaves, Hideaki trailing behind him, a long trip for something that took 5 minutes. Neither of them can express their feelings very well. In Shizune's case, I have to question whether she would if she could. It explains a lot, but she doesn't seem unhappy with the arrangement. Even so, I wonder if she might be. When the door closes behind them, leaving Shizune and me by ourselves, she lets out a deep breath that seems to echo in the silence of the room. It's totally ridiculous asking me to go on the trip, but timing could be worse. It overlaps the student council elections for one. For second, I haven't even cheered up Misha. If you consider that, it's annoying to even have anything else to think about. Yeah, but you might be too focused on all of that stuff right now. Shouldn't adjust her glasses roughly. Completely. 100% right. The minute I decided I was going to cheer up Misha, everything else went on the back burner, I suppose. I think your dad might care about you more than he lets on. I know. So then, it could be a good idea? No. And then again, more firmly as if for both of us. No. After coming this far, I can't take a break. A vacation would be jarring. It would be like waking up in a different life. Yesterday was like my vacation, so now we have to go all in. I'm sorry, but it's just how I am. I remember what Yuko said, that she found Shizune brave in a kind of way. I think I understand what she meant, and I have to agree. Even though it could also be called recklessness and foolishness, and pointless stubbornness. I guess you would call it bravery too. However, I can see that there is a fundamental flaw in Shizune's thinking that I hadn't noticed until now. I'm sure that Shizune has reflected longer and more arduously than I could about where she messed up to create such a bad situation between her and Misha. However, as typical of her, she wouldn't let it hold her back and immediately set out to fix the problem. This completely ignores a large part of the problem, Misha herself. Moving from critical introspection to holding Misha up as part of a goal causes the person to get lost in the shuffle. Shizune has said a lot in the past few days, but nothing about how Misha feels.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Shizune's way of thinking is abnormal. Yeah, few normal people would reject a friend and then expect things to go back to the way they were so easily. Shizune does, because she sees life as, if I had to put it simply, capable of being segmented and compartmentalized. Misha, like anyone else, sees it as the whole experience, a long continuous journey where one moment of heartache can follow you forever. For Shizune, an event is an event, and few of them cross over. Life is compartmentalized around triumphs, failures, and decisions, where each one stands as its own story. It's why the thought of a vacation is jarring to her. It's why she can only appreciate people's immediate emotions. It's exactly how someone obsessed with living in the moment would think, really. Likewise, Shizune can see Misha as a friend, but I doubt that she has ever thought of Misha as anything more until recently, or questioned anything about her. Misha is Misha, would be enough for her, even if to Misha it must be unbelievably stifling. Shizune is just Shizune to herself. It's like she doesn't even think about the after effects of her actions in the long term, as long as they stir up other people's lives. To Misha, though, I'm sure it made her seem almost heroic, like you admiring her bravery and even myself. And Shizune's thoughts on that sentiment are that it was good she could touch someone's life, but it ends there. It's easy to captivate, much harder to nurture. On to the next thing. Thinking of life in terms of almost completely isolated events has a tendency to isolate a person too. For she's trying to remedy it now, the point remains. There is simply no way Shizune could have avoided hurting Misha. Her emotional investment in Shizune was something Shizune couldn't account for, so she didn't. Combined with her personality, it was inevitable. Both of them have pretty much told me all of that in bits and pieces over the past couple of months. I've known them. In the middle of considering their differences, an idea begins to take shape in my head, in my mind, same thing really. Are you working on your plan right now? This second? Your cheer up Misha plan?
Of course, I was thinking about it the whole time I was being yelled at.
Flicking her glasses up the bridge of her nose with an oddly triumphant air, she taps her finger against the temple.
It's multitasking.
Really? Isn't it more like you're able to concentrate on something like that because you can hear? Well, whatever. When I ask her what she thinks of me, it turns out we've both arrived at a similar idea. We both arrived at a similar idea. Although it makes me kind of uneasy, since we're talking about a human being, the first step is to corner Misha. For the situation is a little too much like something out of a cope drama for me. It's come to this situation, right now, because talking to her normally is proving to be near impossible. But we do have class together, even the very first class of the day. Although it takes a while for the announcements to come, the second that I hear we're going to be working in groups today, Shouldn't I try to make sure Misha is in ours? You know, I think Muto assigns a suspiciously large amount of group work and self-study, don't you think so?
But it's easy. So it's okay, right?
Yeah, there's other stuff that I've been thinking about lately that might not be okay for... Misha nods after each sentence, then brushes it all aside.
I thought about it and I don't do enough work when I work with you and Shi-chan. So I'm going to try hard today, so don't distract me, Hi-chan. I have to stay focused.
That was an annoyingly transparent dodge. Shizune doesn't look too happy there, since Misha didn't bother to sign any of it, opting to twirl a pen in her hands instead. From the shaky way she was doing it, I'm sure it was so she wouldn't sign anything inadvertently. From the way Misha looks distracted and uneasy, I doubt it's because she wants to keep Shizune out of the loop for any malicious reason. Although it's still obviously a way of distancing Shizune from herself. Shizune wants to talk to you.
Can't it wait until later, Hi-chan?
No. Why not now?
We're in the middle of class.
Now she's spinning a pen in each hand. I'm beginning to think her signing has turned to a kind of nervous tick for her. This isn't a good replacement, although the sight of her dual wielding is pretty impressive. After class then. After class. I don't waste a second, bring it back up. As everyone else files out of the classroom, leaving the three of us alone, Misha takes increasingly longer runs in every direction except forward. Do you want to get something to eat?
Why do you and Shi-chan keep asking me if I want to eat something, huh?
Because we're all headed to the cafeteria and we haven't eaten in a really long time, so why not?
Is it about the student council?
Taking Shizune's lack of reply as a mission Misha aside.
Ah, Shi-chan, is that all you ever think about?
Before Shizune can reply, she leaves. I have to say, I'm not left feeling very confident after what just happened. Neither of us were expecting that to go smoothly, but it would have been nice. Reading my mind, Shizune curls a finger around her glasses for a while before signing.
I know what you're thinking, but no. It's not that. I think we should give her some space now. I told you I wouldn't give up so easily.
Yeah, well, now I start to wonder if it's not too soon.
Cold feet? Well, I'm not going to. That would be giving up on her.
Damn, it's snowing again. Nice.
There is a fine line between helping someone and smothering them, but I just want Misha to pull herself together and stop acting so weird. I know she can do it, even if she wants to try. People don't change overnight. If they could, the world would be a much easier place.
Okay, you win. Then I guess this is the part where we split up and look for her. For I'm the only one who is really supposed to find her.
If I run to her first, I'll call you a cell phone.
Smiling, Shizune takes out her cell phone. Turning it on to prepare, I notice that she has an extremely high number of unread messages. And look at her expression, so does she. Turning it around by the strap a couple of times, she grimaces.
Ugh, I don't like using this thing. Why can't I just stamp my fingers?
And then what? I'm not a dog, and it doesn't travel as far as phone signal.
You're having a lot of fun with this, aren't you?
Wrong voice, but whatever. Shaking her head from side to side, she continues.
It's obvious where she'll go. You can't look for her on the school grounds. She'll want to go as far away as she can. I checked that tea shop. It's usually empty this early. Misha loves to go there if she feels like sitting class, and she loves the parfaits they have there.
You really know a lot about her. But she would overthink it and turn it into something that would seem a lot more backhanded than it actually is. So I choose to just nod and leave instead until I feel her holding onto my sleeve. What? I say instinctively, forgetting she can't hear me.
It feels nice that I don't have to do it all by myself anymore because I can trust you. I'm really happy.
It makes me happy to read. I can't think of a way to respond and end up only nodding again. Heading outside, I catch a glimpse of pink hair behind some other girl's head, and as I head that way, I realize that this isn't the way you go if you want to leave school. It's the way to the student council room. If I wanted to avoid Shizune, I wouldn't head there. It's strange that Misha would be going that direction then. Maybe she wants to talk things over with Shizune. In which case, I have to wonder if letting things play out naturally would be such a bad idea after all, especially if it seems to be going in a good direction. Suddenly Misha stops and spins around, catching me by surprise.
Surprise, Kid-chan! Were you looking for me? I had a feeling!
I was going to say, hey. I was just looking for you, but I suppose that's no good now. Damn! Winter is really hitting. She didn't finish with her sentence before she blows past me, heading for the exit. I have to admit that Misha is infuriatingly sharper than I expected, also surprisingly fast. Although it's more physical activity than I think I should be getting, I managed to catch up with her halfway to gate. You're really being the rudest woman in the world right now. Can you just stop trying to run away for a second? I want to talk to you. Misha turns on her heel, looking mildly amused, and raises her hands as if to tell me, go on, now that I've gotten her attention. For it's hard to think of the right thing to say. Where are you going right now?
The Shanghai!
Can I go with you then? Waiting for her to answer feels like an eternity. It's almost as if I can hear my wristwatch ticking off the individual seconds.
Okay then, Hichan.
I get the sense that she only agreed because she doesn't want to argue anymore today. When we get there, a couple comes in after us, causing Misha to jump slightly at the noise. Seeing that it isn't Shizune, she relaxes again, smiling almost as usual toward her parfait from Yuko and sliding to the nearest booth. You ran off too fast. You could have at least waited to see what she was going to say. Misha's angry reaction tells me it could be that she was afraid of what Shizune might say.
Why are you both doing this, Hichan?
Because Shizune still wants to be your friend. I guess that, for her, it's kinda like launching a nuclear missile from submarine. You need 2 keys to do it.
Huh?
What else can she do for? She isn't automatically signing whatever she hears or says anymore, and I'm sure that is the reason she's not having so much trouble with her. If she tried to just talk it over, you wouldn't listen. Misha's guilty expression tells me I've hit the mark. Do you really hate Shizune that much?
No, Hichan, I told you that.
She answers without even flinching, eat the plank with a spoon. Yeah, I know. I'm sure she knows it too, but I wonder if it might be easier if you did. The only thing she's really thought about for the last week is how to make you happy, since Shizune is still attached to you. Yesterday, she thought that maybe it would be easiest for you if you just hated her. So you didn't tell her you hate her. Shizune thinks that you can both still be friends. She's like that, only thinking in extremes. Her parfait is starting to melt, the ingredients coming together in tiny rivers that remind me of growing roots of a tree being shown through time-lapse photography.
That's stupid! Shizune isn't that stupid, Hichan! Don't be ridiculous!
It's got nothing to do with intelligence. Smart people can do stupid things, and anyway, isn't it true? I was terrified last week when we talked, but at the end, I was relieved because it sounded like things might go back to normal. I wasn't expecting you to have a fight right after.
It wasn't a fight, Hichan. It was just me yelling at her.
I've noticed that Misha's voice never really changes in tone, just volume. It's so low with guilt that I can hardly believe it came from her. Either way, I was happy because I thought you and her could still be friends, since she needs you.
No, she doesn't, Hichan.
So, how do you know that? There is a lot of things Shizune doesn't. Vocalize, say, talk about. I'm afraid if I say the wrong thing, it will ruin the mood. I get to finally have a conversation with her and don't want to screw it up. I wonder if this is the first time she's had an honest conversation with me. Just because she didn't tell you, doesn't mean she doesn't like you.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it does. Otherwise, she would argue back. You don't think so? She picks fights with everyone, so why not you? Obviously because you're her friend and she values you, and Shizune is her too. She's just awful at showing her feelings, usually does it the wrong way, but she still likes you.
Hichan, do you remember when I said I didn't want to hate Hichan or upset her? The truth is, I ended up doing both. Now it's like, there's like an awkwardness between us. It's hard to explain.
Both of you are so stubborn! You were talking about how you didn't want to drift apart from Shizune, but then you were going to let it happen. And Shizune is just as bad. She wants to be your friend, but respects you too much to be as aggressive as she'd be with anyone else. And I'm sure that Misha interprets Shizune giving her space as a lack of caring.
I screwed up already, Hichan. It will happen again, I'm sure. When I think about it, that way, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. It feels like either way, I will end up making things worse. Then it might be better if I didn't do anything at all, right?
Don't be ridiculous. Why would you even think that way in the first place? Be more positive. It should be easy for you. I won't say, but that would be presumptuous.
Hichan, I never knew you were so optimistic. I never expected it. You always act so gloomy when I try and surprise you.
No. This is a recent thing. Really, I just hate when people give up so easily.
No, huh?
It makes me mad when people give up. I used to think that giving up was kind of like running away, since that's how people always describe it. But now that I think about it, it's usually more like throwing something away. When you run away from something, you can think of it as still being there. So I was in the hospital, and I didn't just want to run away from my problems. I wanted to never think about them again. Misha eats a spoonful of her grey rice goo. Did she just remember it was there now? Or could it be that she likes it that way? Anyway, my point is, you can't do that. People are too sentimental to just throw their memories out like that. It's impossible. Shizune can't think of life in terms of anything but winning and losing. Don't you think she wishes she didn't have to remember the parts where she loses? You can't pick and choose for. That's like wanting to live in a bubble. The worst part is, your way of thinking is so wasteful. It's making you super pessimistic. You're afraid of everything. Come on. I grab her hand as I wave. You go over with the other, pay for our food.
Where are we going now?
Back to school before lunch is over. But I want to check out a few places before then. Although I start feeling tired, even after doing what could be described as on the level of a brisk jog at best, Misha and I eventually make it to the gate of the school with a little over 10 minutes to spare. I didn't even want to really come to this school, you know. I didn't have a choice. When I got to this gate, I'm sure part of me was thinking, what a depressing place. It doesn't look depressing at all for, well, I still thought I had everything figured out. I felt practically like another person. If I could, I'd go back and tell myself to stop thinking he can write everything off at a glance and acting like his life's already over and he can never have fun again. I'm curious something. Okay, so it works the same way. Would it stop until stuff that I haven't seen? Probably not. The school grounds are still littered with quite a few people. It's lunchtime, so it's typical. This is where you and Shizune had been helping put together 2 festivals. What a lot of hard work, I thought. I don't have time for this. When I look back on it, I didn't do all that much. I also didn't have anything better to do. I'd have just spent the time alone. I drag her to our homeroom next, which is empty except for Muto trying to eat a sandwich before classes resume. Every time I thought of either of you, I wished you would leave me alone, whether it was here or... Leaving Muto to his lunch, we headed for the nearby vending machine and I grabbed a soda while I still have 5 minutes to drink it. I spent the entire lunch period with Misha, longer than both Shizune and I have managed to find to talk to her in days. Followed me to the cafeteria, trying to corner me after half of my classes. I never realized we only talked like 4 times. It really was all in my head. I only barely realized it now.
I remember the Hichan, but I know where all of these places are too.
Wait, let me finish my guided tour. Since we're running out of time, by the way, do you want a soda? Making our way to the stairwell. I'm glad I don't have to pull her by the hand anymore. You get dizzy on stairs, right?
Yeah.
I guess just here is good then. I lean against the wall as Misha sits down the steps across from me. Do you ever miss the people you went to school with in elementary school or middle school?
No.
That was fast! She didn't even have to think about it. I found myself cringing reflexively. I had more friends in my old school, but I don't talk to them anymore. It almost feels like that was another lifetime ago. Which is sad, really. Sometimes I want to talk to them again, but I know I can't. I'm scared and embarrassed. Things like that. They're too far away for me to go see them. Then I think about calling them, but I don't know most of their numbers. And I left on a sore note, so why would they want to see me again? It feels like I should just forget about it, but I still think about them in regret that I didn't try harder to stay in touch somehow. And I start to think that maybe feeling like I should forget about it is wrong. It would be an insult to all those people I had fun with and a waste of all the good times. Like I said before, even if there are some bad times too, it's alright if you can look back on them as happy memories. But I didn't even think about it then. So it was like I woke up one day and realized I had no friends. I just let myself lose all my friends and it felt awful. I really hated you and Shizune ended up the same way. That's all.
That's all.
It makes you sad to think that you will do the same thing and push your friend away. Especially because you're not far away from Shizune. I mean, you even live in the same dorm.
Friend, Aren't you my friend too, Hichan?
Yeah. You slept through all of it, but the fireworks were really nice way back at the festival. My first time seeing fireworks like that, and my first time really seeing the sky in a while, and I never really looked at the stars before them either. I had thumbed through a book about them while I was in the hospital and learned a lot. Like that stars aren't just burning, they're more like a constant chain of explosions, so far away that some of the stars I'd be seeing would have been burned out for thousands of years already. It's that their light would only just then be reaching Earth. I saw a mock-up comparing the size of the planet to our sun, and that to other suns. Japan wasn't even visible on the tiny Earth in that book. You know what I'd never realized? She looks at me expectantly. They are amazingly shiny. It's true.
We're doing this, Hichan.
Think what?
I'm not stupid.
I don't know, a bunch of reasons, because you're a student friend and I like how close you were, and maybe I'm trying to tell you that we all have our low points, but giving up is stupid. Anyway, it seems worth the trouble.
That's the only reason?
And you are my friend.
That's it?
Can't I do something for no reason?
You can, but I want to know.
Well, what else you want to hear? The bell rings before Misha can reply, so she ends up laughing instead. Okay, let's end it here. We'll continue tomorrow. For now, hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a wonderful day. See you in the next episode.
Bye bye.